Today I'm going to do a run through of all my camping gear, my bike setup, and some tips of what you should take and what you should just leave at home. First of all, navigation. I just choose to use an iPhone 11 and Google Maps, just simple. And to attach my phone to my bike, I use a thing called a quad lock. They have them for cars, bikes, push bikes, homes, all applications. They're fantastic. You should go out and get one. They are pricey, but definitely worth the money. I run genuine BMW hard panniers. They're stupidly expensive, but they're extremely high quality. Some people run soft panniers, and other people use the hard panniers. There is perks using the soft panniers. One, they're cheaper, and two, they're actually a lot safer if you crash. Because I've heard stories of people who have actually seriously injured their legs and things like that under those panniers when you've come off your motorbike. Tents. Time to talk shelter. There are three options, in my opinion. Number one is a bivvy, which is basically just a sleeping bag condom, and then all your stuff is left out or on the bike, which I don't want to do that. Two is a swag, which is basically the same as a bivvy, just a bit more internal structure, a bit warmer, and you might be able to fit some stuff in there. Three is a tent, which is what I choose to do, mainly for space and security and safety. You can leave all your stuff in your tent and you're not going to have any problems unless someone goes in your tent, but it's pretty obvious if someone tries to get in. The weather, everything's in your tent, so you're completely safe. All swag and bivvy users will tell you that it's a lot better to use a swag or a bivvy because of space, and a lot easier to set up, a lot quicker to set up. That is true, but if you're riding a big boy bike like I do, it doesn't really matter, and you can have a proper tent within, I don't know, probably 5 or so minutes. My tent was very expensive. It was about $1,000, but I've had it for 6 years and it's done 4 months of constant work at one point. The zips are perfect on it. It's never had a problem. They're really, really good quality. I wouldn't say it's as small as a hiker's tent, but it's definitely getting close to that. Now on the top of the sleeping bags. On the top of the sleeping bags. I used to have a really good sleeping bag. It's gone missing since I went to Europe. I don't know what happened to it. So now I just use a Kmart special one. I'm a really hot sleeper, so I don't really have to have a nice warm sleeping bag. I think my sleeping bag was about $40. Just a tip too, if you're going to go on a trip for more than a few days, shower every single night when you're away, because your sleeping bag will thank you. I showered every night when I was away in Europe, and your sleeping bag doesn't get yucky, it doesn't get sweaty, and you can go a lot longer without having to wash it. Another tip I actually learned is put your camping clothes, like the clothes you wear around the camp before you put on your gear or after you put on your gear, leave it in your sleeping bag with you, unless it needs to look presentable. Leave it in your sleeping bag with you, because in the morning it's warm, and when you get up to take a piss, your clothes are nice and warm. I would put your shoes in there, because your shoes are a bit funky. And another tip someone just taught me, actually, keep a piss bottle in the tent with you during the night, because you don't really want to have to get up. Also, a tip about having a tent is that in the middle of the night you don't have to go searching outside for your cheeky snacks. It's all in there with you. Now to self-inflating air mattresses. Again, sadly mine's gone missing. I'm not sure what actually happened to mine. I had a nice one, but it's gone missing again. I don't know what happened to that one. But now I got one I bought online. It's about yay thick. Now I'm a big guy, but I find it quite comfortable. It's $40. You just unroll it, magic happens. After 5-10 minutes you put a couple of breaths into it, and it's perfect. Pillows. I like to use a genuine proper pillow you have on your bed. It does take up a lot of space, but I've got a jacked up spine and a jacked up neck, so I have to have a decent sized pillow. Again, it does take up a bit of size, but when you're dealing with a bike that I've got, you got heaps of space, so it's not really much of a problem. My camping chair. I'm actually sitting on my camping chair now because it's really good for my back, this one, especially when I'm editing for hours on end. I do have the little 3-legged one. I wouldn't want to take this on a really, really long trip. Having a big bulky chair on your kit when you're trying to take it off, take it on every night, it's just not worth it to me. So I've got a little 3-legged one that I also use. One thing I lack in my kit is actually a table, but you can always just use the seat of the bike, or you can just make sure your camp is next to a little picnic table, or one of those little things where the barbecues are. It's a bit of a pain sometimes, but you just learn to live with it. Everyone says you should always have a med kit. I just run Band-Aids and burn cream. I added the burn cream after I had a pretty crazy night one night when I got drunk and a fire pit got in my way, and I didn't realise I got burnt till the next day. And yeah. Now on the topic of toiletries, some people bring toilet paper. It really depends on what camping you're doing, as I said. But I like to bring wet wipes because you can use those for a lot of different things, and it's a lot smaller thing of toilet paper. And of course you bring your toothbrush, your soap and things like that. And again, it depends on what kind of camping you do, but I just bring like a toothbrush, toothpaste, soap. You don't need a shampoo or anything for a few days away. Some people like to take a hydration pack on their back while they ride. I don't bother, but it wouldn't be such a bad idea. Like if you need to do high Ks for a long period of time to get somewhere, having a drink over your shoulder while you ride probably isn't a bad idea. I might try it one day, but it's a lot of weight just to put on your back if you want to drink, I guess. I can tell you the clothes I bring, but I think you're all adults and you can just figure that one out yourself. I also bring a power bank. The one I've got is awesome. It charges my phone like 3 times over. So if you're in a very remote location, you've got your phone, you can leave your phone on in constant use for well over a day and a half, 2 days, and you don't have to worry about it. I also bring a flick knife with me. I think it's called a flick knife. I can't remember what it's called because I don't have it on me right now because I haven't done the filming yet. But a Garmin? No, that's it's something with G. I'll show you in a minute. And because I run quite a big bike, I can run the cheaper, larger gear. The smaller you go, the more expensive it's going to be. So if you can run the cheaper gear that's just bigger, that's what I do anyway. It's probably it really depends. Like if you're riding a WR250, then yeah, sure, like riding with Tom, you got to have the smallest, cheapest gear because one, you can afford it, and two, it's a lot better on a little bike like that. But because I've got a big boy bike, I can definitely get away with having the cheaper, the cheaper, heavier gear. For example, my stove. My stove's just one of those ones where you put the canisters in. It's like $20, but it's a proper size one that fits perfectly in my top box underneath everything else, and it works perfect for me. And the refills are $4 for 3, and I don't think I've ever used more than one canister in one trip. So when it comes to bowls and plates, I normally just use normal bowls and plates, again because I've got the space. I wouldn't mind getting like a little titanium thing just for the sake of spending some money, but at this point I just use normal like plastic bowls and just normal knife and fork. Riding gear. Don't skimp on your riding gear, especially if you're doing serious off-road or serious adventure riding. It's good to have a good base layer, good pair of boots, good pair of riding pants, good riding jacket, decent gloves, decent helmet. That to me, that's the minimum all the time. That's what I'm always running, especially on a holiday. And if you can fit your waterproof somewhere, take waterproofs. You'll definitely thank yourself. Now I ride with dry rider stuff on. I've had the same suit for 6 years, and all the zips are still great. It still fits me, only because I've gone up and down in size, but it still fits me and it's really comfy. I've misplaced the inside winter layer, but that doesn't bother me too much because I'm actually going to get a Makita jacket that I can plug into 12-volt power on the bike and keep warm. I use Alpine boots. Again, I've had those for 6-7 years and they're great. The zips are still good, they fit me. They haven't done that weird ankle flex thing where when you walk in them a lot, the ankle leather area starts to flex and then you can move your foot too much. But that's just because they're good Alpine Star boots. If I'm on holiday, I'll bring 3 pairs of gloves. Winter gloves, summer gloves, and MX gloves. I normally bring the MX gloves more for just like around the campsite because the summer gloves and the MX gloves are pretty much the same. It's just one's leather, one's fabric. But the MX gloves are good. Like if you're freezing cold, you don't want to wear your leather gloves around the campsite. The MX ones are actually really good. When packing, regardless of having hard panniers or soft panniers, always try and get your stuff into the center of gravity of the bike, especially if you're a new rider, and try and keep your similar items together, such as sleeping bag, tent, clothes. And I can't stress this enough, always bring extra straps, because you don't know what you're going to come into. Maybe a strap of yours breaks, maybe someone you're with, their straps break and you need to lend one out. It's always good to have them, and they weigh nothing and they just take up no space at all. My last tip, when you go away, always dry off your tent before you put it away. If you're not gonna be home to take it out within 24 hours, it will get moldy, it will get damaged, it'll end up smelling. Now, I've spent so much money on mine, I don't want mine damaged. So say even in the morning when it's a nice sunny day, the morning there's a lot of condensation. When you lift your tent up, you'll see that underneath it's all wet. Just flip it over onto its side and into the sun, and within a few minutes all that water's gone and you won't have to worry about it again. But yeah, that's a big thing I stress. Never put your tent away wet. It's a really bad idea. Anyway guys, that's my camping gear. If you have any other questions or anything like that, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And as soon as this fire stuff's over, I'm taking my bike away. See you later guys.